Good morning, everybody. Scott with the Bullish Bears. This morning, we're going to go through on how to build a watch list, what things I look for, what things are I'm going to stay away from, and if we find something that we can talk about, we'll discuss some strategies based around when I should be getting involved and when I shouldn't. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started. I haven't done any pre-screening yet, so we're just going to be doing this as we go. I'm also working in our Discord. We have a Discord on our web servers that we communicate with daily. We have a live voice channels. So a lot of our ideas are discussed in there, and then they post questions, and we try to answer them the best that we can. Morning, everybody. All right, so it looks like DWAC had an IPO. SPAC merging with Trump Media. That's awesome. Jump pre-market. All right, so it looks like Donald Trump finally did it. He announced his new social media platform called Truth Social. And they're working with Digital World Acquisitions Corp. That should be interesting. I might actually keep this one on my main grid. All right, not much to go on here other than knowing that we were once $9. We were, let's see, we opened trading here on this at $16 on a daily chart. So with that in mind, I'm going to go to, I'm just going to go ahead and highlight that wick with my drawing tool just because I can. There we go. So you can see that we blast through that and we hit $20. So that is going to be la resistance. So what we're going to look for is some daily stuff, some hourly stuff. And we don't have anything on the hourly. This is going to be interesting to say the least. I guess what we could do is just snap a fib and see where it goes from there. I'm just going to do that for funsies. Not that I expect much out of this Fibonacci, but hey, whatever works, works. So we potentially based out. You can see here that we've got our wick there, and then we have a higher low there. We wedged against this 15 EMA there. We popped up and held above VWAP for one candle. Doesn't really look like that should have been a turnaround point, other than this is its first test above. Oh man, sorry group. I'm streaming on YouTube, and I got kind of turned around. Forgot to turn my screen on in our group. There we go. Sorry, gang. All right, so for me, this is like the first test above VWAP, and a lot of you know that I like to see the first test fail, and then retest the previous pivot before, which it also lines up with the 9 in the 15 EMA. So I always look for a break above it, and then we'll see if we can identify some structure below that where we could be taking an interest. It is pre-market, so expect something to go a little bit lower than you would normally anticipate. So I'll be looking for this retest of 11 or 1090s. PALT and Scoot should be live now. Okay. There we go. All right. So what's next? What else is moving? One of our group members mentioned PALT. He's one of the moderators. He's been taking a look at PALT. I believe he's been playing it from down here. You can see that we've got kind of a an inverse head and shoulders on the 15-minute chart. Left, head, right, and now we got a flag and kind of a wedge starting here. So we'll see if we can get that pop above it. I'm going to wait to see what happens when volume gets in here. DWAC. So we've got that first, we had that first tier, that first pop above EWAP and a retest. So now we're just going to look for our targets based off of that. There's not really any clear areas where I could say, yes, it's going to definitely turn around here based off of this, because it just looks like a bunch of weakness and just selling off without any real solid pullbacks. One thing that kind of sticks out to me is this candle right here. So this candle, you can see that we have a drop, but then it pops up and that body opened inside the body of the previous candle. So a lot of times that might be an area where you're looking at taking some profit off the table. Right here, you've got some obvious taking profits on the way down. So you could look at this area as being the first target area for taking some risk off. And then you could also just see where it goes from there. So if you took some risk off here, then the target's $12. Didn't quite get as deep as I expected, but you know, that first pop and then drop below VWAP, usually pretty good signal to go along on the hold there, though. Okay. I'm also being a little bit conservative today because we've been a little bit sideways this last week. Huh? Oh, being sideways? I didn't even catch that. That's funny. Yeah, I'm not very political. So yeah, isn't that funny? Who'd have thunk it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think. Oh, that's all good. No, I think that's really interesting news. So, like I said, I'm gonna keep this one on my main watch grid just to kind of see what happens with volume. Um, yes, I'm trying to. Yeah, DWAC, adding that to my main grid. So for the people on YouTube that may not have seen my setup before, this is essentially my main watch, whatever I'm trading at the moment. And then I've got a grid that I build for my pre-market watch list to start trading during the day. And then I also have a long-term watch list on my other monitor, just so that I can see, like, identify different sectors or stuff that's been moving pretty consistently. I can just keep all of that on track. I like to watch things for at least 3 to 4 days. Let whatever has moved, give it time to breathe a little bit, and see if we can catch a pullback on those and then go further. So essentially for this one, I'm just looking for another higher low here. Retest the VWAP to continue to that next target. Let's see here. Scanners. Built a bunch of scanners in Thinkorswim. I don't like for paying for 100 different services when I can build something out and the scanners are actually pretty decent, and we give those out to all of our yearly members in the Bullish Bears. So if you guys want any of those scanners, you guys can sign up, and a lot of our indicators that we write and the scanners are available to yearly members as well. So let me pop up my morning scanner here. Thanks, Stone. Yeah, I'm I'm proud of that scanner. I think it works really well. Thanks, Stone. Not thanks for muting yourself, but thanks for the All right. Let's see. Grtx. One of our members is asking about the Grtx. I don't see it on anything yet. There it is. It's on my morning scanner. So far, it only has 145,000 traded and is down 2.8% Grtx. He might be looking at a bigger picture. So yesterday or the day before, I mentioned Grtx off of a gap down, and same thing with the AVIR. The play was for it to gap down and then to recapture a good portion of that bounce. You were here that day, right? Yeah. So I'll just give it like a quick overview of what I was looking at. So essentially, when I saw the big drop here on this Grtx, this now fell from, I think it was like $7. I think it fell from 7 all the way down to 2. Yeah. So a lot of times what I find with that big of a drop, if you think about gap ups, gap downs work the similar way, where if you get a huge gap down, you've got people that are taking their profits if they were shorting the stock. So a lot of times it'll come all the way back down to areas where the gap down kind of stopped. And over here we've got zones that we drew out off of those candlesticks on that first initial drop, and then I put out 2 targets to look for during the market. So I called that down here at like I think it was like around 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then it goes up into those first areas of that first gap, and a VIR killed that target. It destroyed it. It dropped from I think like $47 down to 10. So these were the areas that I had marked off for target areas. And if we extend those to the right, and I'm building a video series on these type of plays on gap downs. There's just so much content that we're getting ready to build or to add into the Bullish Bears website that is just, it's mind-boggling. Yeah, it's very exciting. So these were the targets that I had in the when I saw the drop happen. So I had a target up here of this 1388 zone, and then I had another target of this 1218 zone. And once we dropped, we were watching. Yes. Yep. So I took some off when we got into here, and then I took some off when I got here, and then I added some on a retest, and then I got skittish and took the rest of it off on the test of like before we got to $15. I thought 15 was going to be the end, but it just kept pushing. So, but usually this first target, this second target that I put is usually the end. They usually don't push up that hard, but because it wasn't that bad of news, it didn't justify that big of a drop. So this is one of those deals where I said that once you pop up, you're probably not going to be able to reclaim this right away. It might go sideways for a few weeks, but it goes down, pops up, and then you'll start tightening price, and then it just kind of disappears for a while until whoever wants to be in it reaccumulates price. But I marked out some areas down here at $12 that if we reach there, set an alert to see if accumulation takes place down here, or if accumulation is going to hold over in these areas. We will see. The green here, down here, these were bullish structures. So there was a higher low there and a break of structure, and I was waiting for that retest all the time. Yes. When I saw the dip, I believe there was a few dojis and some triple wicks down there, and then maybe a first pop and fail of VWAP, and then it came back down, and then that was the entry to go up. Yeah. So just like we talked about on DWAC. So DWAC, I marked that target area out, which we're almost there. Exact same thing. Here, actually, I'll show you real quick. I don't know if I should do this or not, but maybe not. Maybe I'll share it in the chat room. I'll just share it in the chat. But yeah, I'll hold on a second. That's good enough. I just took my shares off. I'm just a few cents short of my target, so I'm cool with that. Let me take a snapshot and share it in chat. So it's all good, Stone. So here's DWAC. I've got my entries and my exits on it. I should say entry and exit because I only did one. DWAC. And it's the same thing that I always look for and that we've talked about a lot in this room. First fail. It's the first fail of VWAP after a ladder on the way up. So this stock has been below VWAP this whole time, coming down from the highs. See, it never reclaimed VWAP. Just constant downtrend until it hit this level here. Hit this level here. We've got one test, then you've got a higher low, and then you have that wedge above the 15 EMA. And then it pops and flags back. And now we've got confirmation that we're going to likely test VWAP here. So always sell the first pop above VWAP and then re-enter on that first pivot on the way down. DWAC. Well, you don't always. I didn't see it until like I was still analyzing it, trying to figure out like what was going on. And then when I saw that this had a nice little base here and then nice structures on the way up, I took that dip down here at 11.18, and then my target was at $12. So you can, I don't know if you can see that. I just shared that chart. You can see that little green arrow and then the red arrow. Those are my entries and exits. And then I just took it off a little early, just because I don't trust the market we're in right now. We're getting right into really close to that selling pressure. So, you know, you could potentially expect that once we hit up into that like 1220 area, if this level breaks, look at that potential 1220 area for maybe a deeper retracement back down. So this is just this will just be another flag right here, more than likely. But this is what I consider like my second target above VWAP. But this thing's definitely got some range. So we can quite literally just draw that out right there and say that this is where we're going to be likely seeing that retracement, but I'm cool with that whole dollar. It's close enough. I'm not worried about that 20 cents. I caught a really nice move all the way up to 12. So for me, there's a couple things that you got to look at. One, did it did it in fact pop up at least once, and is it wedging below VWAP? Armed. Yeah, that did kind of the same thing this morning too. Oh no, shoot, never mind. Thing didn't load. All right. Yeah. So I don't. Right off the bat, it doesn't have good signs for me. Let me hop over to 10-minute chart. That 10-minute kind of shows it pretty clear. 1, 2, 3. You've got long wick here, long wick here, long wick here. I just don't like wicks. You know me. High sell pressure, not that high of any volume. So like once this level fails right here, that's probably going to go down to 317. Let's see. Let's check out the daily. What's the news on it? Yeah, so the morning scanner. Yeah, I see. Yeah, I see that they have a target of $12. It is not, but you could definitely put this on your watch for like an afternoon play. When it after it crushes everybody. So I'm gonna go ahead and give a little mini lesson instead of building a watch list, I guess. I probably shouldn't do this because I told everybody on YouTube that this was going to be a watch list building party. But something that I always found interesting is, when you're first starting out trading, the way that a candle forms kind of helps you tell a whole story of what to expect. So right now, the only expectation for me is that this right here is the initial selling pressure, and I'm looking at this area right here for the next pop and fail. So if you're looking for like a quick scalp, like to retest 350, that's all that I'm looking at right now. 2-minute chart shows that we are doing higher lows, which is nice. Right below all the, just those two EMAs, which is really scary to take a position there. But there's a tiny little gap here at 346. So anyways, so just like a quick mini lesson before 9 o'clock hits. Looking at daily charts, let's use something like SPCE, just because we know that it's been volatile this last couple days. There's that pop on DWC, and we pre-marked out that area where once it pops up above this, we'll look for that 1220s as that for that other flag. So on SPCE, if you think about how candles are formed on gap ups and gap downs, a lot of times you get something that looks similar to this right here, this guy. So if you're looking at this gap up from the previous day, a lot of times it'll go up. Let's say this was 2350, and then everybody sees that it gapped up. So when the market opens, it slams down, and everybody takes their eyes off and goes, all right, well, this is garbage. I can't believe that I was watching it and or got stopped out. So then they move on. They take the stock off of their watch list, move on to the next best thing that's about to break another high, and we're taking it to the moon. But that's when I start getting interested, because now it's cheap enough again. So it pops up on news or does something that makes it move, and then it pulls all the way back down. And now I'm taking an interest in it because I want to catch the rest of the move. So more than likely, when this candle was formed, this candle was probably a dip and then a pop up and then it came back and sold off towards the end of the day. You see that? So it started here at 2278, and then it dipped down below VWAP, and everybody took their eyes off of it, and then it popped up, and then towards the end of the day, they took their profits. So this, from the base to the top, that's a lot of the move that I'm looking for, and then I'm also playing those structures in between, scalping those little moves, getting in and out. And then once the move is over and then the selling off happens, then, obviously, that that's probably the end, or that was the move. Rather than playing the gap up and then just expecting it to go further immediately, I always like to wait when the market opens for it to dip down and then look for that reclaim of VWAP and then pop up. We did that, or I did that play a couple times already this week. They're pretty easy to catch. It's also kind of risky because you're getting kind of out, but you're also catching those bases. So now we're in that sell-in pressure. Yep. Yes, it is. Essentially, you could just play flags. Morning. You could just play flags on this too. Just if it pops up, flagged. If this was a 1 minute chart, that was probably a flag to the 9. Pops up. If this was a 1 minute chart, probably flag to the 9. Pops up. But I'm not participating up here. I'm not looking to start participating unless you were able to catch the move from below VWAP. And then if you still had some in it, then that's great. But oh yeah, this will probably be my main watch for the day. If this keeps the volume coming in, this will probably create at least some kind of a range that is playable if you can identify those potential targets. Yeah. Yeah, same here, Stone. Have a good one. What you got going on, Alex? All right. I'm going to go ahead and get... Oh, please don't turn on. Had to turn the Roomba off real quick. All right. Back to HX. We've got some member in our group, Casper, mentioned HX yesterday. Closed the gap yesterday, showed some weakness, and there we go. So HX yesterday, we were looking at this gap area we identified, and we hit it. We pulled back, and then we popped, which was awesome. That was a good call there, Casper. And now we are at 25. This thing has been moving really nice since yesterday. $23. Is the move over? So we're above VWAP, popped up, pulled down, nice stop. Essentially just riding that 15 EMA right there, the 15 and the 9. I do like it when it hits the 15, it comes back towards the 15, but then it stops on the 9. For me, that shows that it's building bullish momentum. So it came down. You can see here that we crossed below, and then we popped up, came in, almost touched, but this time we came in and we just touched the 9. So if this area right here, 24.03, that's kind of like the make or break spot for me. If this were to continue any higher, it could just form a wedge from right here. So we'll see. Right on. Let me. Sophie. All right. BBIG, you're dead to me for now. So SOFI, I'm going to add that to my grid because I don't have anything else that I'm really watching. Yeah. No, they always bounce. So I'm going to add HX as well. Yeah, Casper mentioned it yesterday, and then he was watching it, and it moved. It didn't move until the afternoon, I don't think, but I took it off my grid because, yeah, I took my eyes off of it because I was watching too much garbage. All right, so while we wait for DWAC to find a new base, I'm not sure what else to look for because not a whole lot of stuff is hopping on the scanners. SIOX, not great volume. Looks like JRJC is up on volume. It's up 21% already on 2 million shares. And we just closed a gap at 814. So closed at 814 yesterday, popped up to 949. Taking a look at the selling pressure up here. Pretty obvious to identify that you've got some selling pressure. At 10. Oops, didn't draw that far enough. There we go. And we're not quite there yet. We are in this selling pressure right here. So if that selling pressure is light, the idea behind supply and demand is that once you hit an area and you retest, that gives it a potential to move to the next tier. But if it kind of hangs around and it can't break out of that, then you could expect that that tier would fail, and then you'll have to wait for another setup after it breaks down. So we can go ahead and put a line in the sand at this 810 area. Nice. SOS has been nice. It hasn't been, it's not up, but it gave a nice range. And we have a first big bar off of a base. So we've got kind of a ABC first pop. So we'll see if this can base a little bit and give us a potential second pop. Right now we're at 308, which is right into this pressure here. So watch that area of 330s to 350s. I actually might watch this one too. Right now we're kind of at pre-market. Yesterday's open, or yesterday's close, I mean. So we're back to yesterday's close. And we just opened kind of weird there. So yeah, I'm going to watch this one in the open. Not in the open, but I'm going to add this one to one of my main watches. CAN, I had big plans for that one, but it didn't do what I wanted it to. So I'm going to add that to my long-term watch. Yeah, and I'm having a hard time deciding. I don't have a good spot for it. I'm running out of I'm running out of watches. I guess I'll take right off my watch list. So I'm going to add can instead of ride, even though ride is in a potential accumulation zone. And I'm going to add SOS there. We know it can run. It's crushed a lot of people in the past, especially around that $4 area. A nice flag on HX there. All right. I think that's a pretty stout watch list. What are you looking at for SoFi? SoFi? You said you're just looking for this area to hold as a flag. Nice. It's kind of a cup and handle too. If you don't include that tall wick. Yeah, that's one of those emotional pushes that that you guys hear me talk about a lot. It's like sometimes if there's a pattern, but there's like a long wick into it, sometimes I don't include those in the pattern, just because it's just an emotional push. It's like they just let it through just to get the eyes on it and to get retail and other investors like jumping on it to buy, to keep pushing it, but then they're just selling into that, and then they push it all the way back down. They use FOMO to exit their positions. But if that person exited all of their positions there, then the idea is that it would go to the next tier of people that are selling into that position. It looks like we have some a pullback on Nxtp finally potentially coming to an end here. That was from Monday's discussion with Jeremy. So we were looking at it a couple days ago as it was approaching the 15 below VWAP, and it finally popped up. So that is great to see that. This one, I'm interested to see how this one moves. Similar type of a setup. You've got a lower, and then you got a confirmation, and then you get that pop, and now we're starting to wedge on that 15 EMA. So if this 15 EMA holds, we'll see if we can reclaim VWAP again. But I would like to see another dip back down right before the market open, like maybe at like 9:15, and see if we can retest that area one more time. And that would give me more confidence to say that we are potentially accumulating a position for another push higher. Mm-hmm. Yes. Negative. No. And it's not yellow, it's gold. It's gold. No, that is the 15. Yep. The It's the purple. Yeah. Yep. Yep. The upper and lower band on VOP is too distracting. I had thousands of indicators. I've tried them all, and it clouded price action too much for me, and I just kept waiting for confirmations. Even having like all the standard, like the 200, the 50, the 20, the 9, having all of those on the chart, it's always hitting something. It's always hitting an EMA, and I could never justify getting in because now I'm looking at those areas as not price action like I've been showing you guys, but instead it's a resistance line that it's going to have a hard time getting over. And then I was in like that analysis paralysis where you can't take a trade because you're going through the 1 minute, the 5 minute, the 10 minute. Every time frame has a different EMA in a different area that's telling you that this isn't a good spot to get in. So you'd end up just sitting there looking at charts all day long while things are moving around and you're not able to take any trades. So I dumbed it down. I dumbed it down a lot. Mm-hmm. What was the question? Yep. No. No. I mean, if you want, you can have my exact layout if you want. Get that from James. Or you could just go to yesterday. Go to yesterday and just snap a line at previous day. I James is here. What's up? What's up, Crackles? not to mention it saves your finger from having to scroll. The less you have to scroll, the more you're going to save your wrists. Nice. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I was planning on doing something either later today as well. So that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. That's all right. Um, yeah. Also, James, DWAC. I don't know if you saw that one. DeWack. I was telling them that's probably going to be one of my main watches for today because I think it's going to potentially provide really good trading opportunities. Yeah. Yeah. Just I knew they weren't in here yet, so. All right, I gotta hop off. Um, I didn't I didn't realize what time it was. Totally missed my meeting this morning. I know I've been doing that a lot lately, getting distracted. Um, so for the folks that are on YouTube, and you're interested in learning more about what we look for and how to trade these during the market open. If you're just interested in being a part of a community that has an open voice room where we can just kind of give the back and forth chatting like we did just now. We have live voice rooms where we give live analysis of the charts that you might be looking for, and also potentials to give feedback on trading strategies and help you identify potential tweaks to your strategy that you might have to help improve your P&L and get you out of those riskier situations. So please feel free to come check us out at bullishbears.com. And for yearly members, we have thousands of videos, tons of resources, tons of code that are custom for like TradingView, Thinkorswim, a couple different platforms. We're rebuilding our library. We're adding a bunch of really neat videos to it as well. So if that interests you, right now it is an extremely good value. It'd be silly almost not to buy it or to at least give it a trial, 7-day free trial. So please come and join us, and see you guys there.